Welcome to Holly Headlines. It doesn't get any better than this. Angel Cordero, part of the Legends Tour, is here. Angel, how's your night going? How you doing?
Pretty good.
First things first, John Velasquez. Tell us how he's doing.
He's doing very well. Nothing showing the x-rays. All his tests came out negative. He got a little concussion. Just going to take a few days, but everything thank God came out very good.
And that was a spill at Keeneland today, right?
At Keeneland today, yes.
Okay, now you won the first two Meadowlands Cups. How fitting on Cup night. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Patches in the second one, because him winning the Cup wasn't even his most famous win here. His most famous win came in the Patterson against a horse by the name of Seattle Slew. Tell us about that.
Well, that was a great day for me. Dr. Patches was running very well before the race and came back to run against Seattle Slew that came out from a laid-off. First time to turn on a long time, and I knew that I have a very good chance to beat in that particular day. But after the race, I know I got lucky. I was fortunate to beat a great horse.
Well, he got 14 pounds, I believe, from that night, but he still had to beat him. Now, you're far from retired. Tell us a little bit about your schedule with Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez.
Well, I've been retired since 1991. I get on horses for pleasure and for Shug McGahee and for Bobby Franco. I'm Johnny's agent, so whenever he does something wrong, it's my fault.
Okay, now what about when Angel Cordero was growing up, you wanted to be a jockey? Did you have any idols at that point? Someone you wanted to emulate, be just like?
Well, my biggest idol since I was a little kid was Eddie Arcaro. I still think to this point I never saw a rider as good as him. To me, he was the greatest I ever saw on a horse. There was no way to learn in the 40s and 50s from where you're going to learn from somebody, and he had our style. And to me, to this point, I think he's the greatest rider I ever saw.
Well, I see we have a lot of riding academies now, riding schools, but not so often back then. You didn't have that opportunity to learn your craft. You had to kind of be a natural, right?
Yes, and you learn how to ride at the racetrack, and the trainers and the people on the racetrack would teach you how to do it. You got more facility now. You get the equalizer. You get to see films. You get to study other riders, and you try to copy the style from them, and then you become your own style.
So you're from Santurce, Puerto Rico. So if you're in Puerto Rico and want to be a rider, 17, 18 years old, what does he do right now? What path does he take?
Well, years ago, we don't have any facility. We didn't even have films. Right now, you could watch these races live in Puerto Rico, and you just pick the rider that you like the best, and you try to copy from him.
Some of the great horses of the 70s, you were right there. You rode some of them. Spectacular Bid, Seattle Slew, Secretariat, Affirmed Alidar. Do we lack the rivalries that we used to have? We don't seem to have those kind of good rivalries. Affirmed and Alidar met 10 times in their career. We don't have that anymore.
No, we don't have the chance now because remember years ago when they prepped for the Derby, they only had like 5 major preps. It was the Flamingo, the Florida Derby, the Bluegrass, Santa Anita Derby, and the Wood Memorial. Now to go to the Derby, because everybody wants to run on the Derby, they go to a different tracks and they go to a different procedure to go to the Derby. So they don't last that long anymore like they used to. Plus, when they are real good, they retire very early because it's a lot of money on the syndication, and so the people doesn't get to see a heroes anymore like we used to.
Take us back, if you can, to the 1980 Preakness, because Genuine Risk, who we just lost at age 31, won filly winning the Derby, the first Derby any filly was in 21 years. You had Codex, controversial race. Tell us about it.
Well, she won the Derby, and she was very impressive in the Derby. And when I rode against him in the Preakness, I just anticipated that she would come around me, and went a little wider than probably usually. It was no contact, but she lost a lot of ground, sort of my horse, but I still think my horse was going to beat him. But I give her a lot of credit because she went to the whole Triple Crown. She was first in the Derby, she was second in the Preakness, and she was second in the Belmont.
We're going to take a break right now for the post-parade. We'll come right back here with Angel Cordero. Joining on the clubhouse level here, Angel Cordero. 40 years ago, 1968, your first Kentucky Derby. What are your memories of that one?
Well, going into that Kentucky Derby, I was riding a very nice horse called Iron Ruler. I was second in the... I won the Flamingo, I got disqualified. I was second in the Florida Derby to Flower Pass. Then I was second in the Wood Memorial to Dance's Image. And I was removed from the horse. And I cried that time because the trainer said I wasn't ready for the big league. But he was right. I wasn't probably ready. And the two horses that beat me came back and finished 1-2 in the Kentucky Derby. I just remember Dance's Image when I was disqualified because he came out positive for Beauty Silent, which he was legal the next year.
Well, now in retrospective of your career a little bit, is it tougher to get to the top, or is it tougher to get to the top and stay at the top? Which one?
I think it's tougher to stay on the top. Now it's easier to get rights. When we first came to this country, we struggled, and some of the riders came with a contract, and it was easier for them. But the one that didn't have a contract or stable, we had to really struggle. I think it's harder now to stay on the top because it's so much talent going around. It's so many good riders everywhere. So when you reach the top, you have to really reach farther and harder to stay there.
And what do you tell the apprentices, the top apprentices, when they're about to lose their bug? What do you tell them? Is that part of that psychological when they get out there on the track as a journeyman?
It is. You are very hard when you're an apprentice. Everybody wants you, and when you lose them 7 pounds allowance, you kind of slow down on the ladder a little bit. And not as much as they used to be years ago. Years ago, you get a lot of good buck boys. They will become national leading buck boys, and they disappear. Now, usually, they are good as a buck boy. They can maintain that, and they're easier now to stay in there.
Since you hadn't ridden since '91, a lot of people here tonight haven't seen you in action. How would you describe yourself? Are you an aggressive rider, a finesse rider, a stretch rider? A little bit of all the above? What was it?
I don't know. I can't judge myself how I was. I just heard people saying what I was. I had to say that whenever I had the horse, I could do whatever it was meant to do for that particular horse.
And when you named a lot of horses, you got to watch a lot of horses, even in races you're in. So you got to watch some replays. You got to watch the TV show. You got to keep a track of not just your horse, but horses in the race that you're in.
Well, it's easy right now because you could see horse racing everywhere, even on your computer. Years ago, you could only see it when you was there. I think it's easier to learn now, and it's easier to get adjusted to the horses and the jockeys' habit. I know it's a lot of jockeys that they recognize the other rider just to see him in the film. So it's very easy now to learn compared with years ago.
And back in '77 when the Meadowlands opened, night thoroughbred racing was a novelty. We hadn't had it in this area here. What was your first thought when you heard of night racing coming to New Jersey, and you obviously were a big part of it?
Well, I loved it because I was always fighting leading rider of the nation, and they gave me the opportunity to ride during the day and to ride at night. And the first 5 years of Meadowlands, I was here on an everyday basis, and I got beat by Lafitte, I got beat by Pat Day, I got beat by Macaron, I got beat by Sandy Holly, I got beat by Lafitte again. And I tried so hard trying to be leading rider, but I never did, and all of a sudden I got lucky.
Well, you left out a name there. You couldn't mention your name in the first 10 years here without the name of George Velasquez. What about George? Keep in touch?
Well, he was my compadre. Yeah, he was probably one of the toughest competitors I got because Lafitte came and go to California and only came a certain time. With George, I had to battle all the time on an everyday basis, and he was a gentleman and he was a great rider.
What has the John Velasquez taken on the track from Angel Cordero?
Well, John is a very good student. He learned very quick. He's a gentleman. He doesn't look nothing like me. He's very mellow. He's very clean rider. He's a very good professional. He did what I needed to be. He had it.
We want to see a bunch of the jockeys coming back, kind of like a senior tour. We want to see you guys again in action. Is that possible?
Of course. October 17th, you're going to see Pat Day, Chris Macaron, Gary Stevens, Julie Cron, Sandy Holly, myself, Jacinto. If he can get a helmet to fit him, he'll be there too.
Okay, I was going to give you my losing win ticket on Genuine Risk from the Preakness, but I'm going to keep that for posterity. Angel Cordero, thanks so much for stopping by. It's not Legends Night without Angel. Great seeing you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.